Julia Wright, and this is my presentation on the event technology timeline. For this presentation, I will be listing 16 different technological advancements that helped change the event planning industry into what we know today. Let's start with number 1, the computer. The first concept was thought up in 1822 by a man named Charles Babbage. Although it was just a concept in 1822, it didn't become a reality until 1943 when the Colossus model was made to break German codes by the UK during World War II. This computer ran off of a specific programmable setting and wasn't useful for other skills until 1945 when the ENIAC model came around. This model was popular for being in the movie Hidden Figures and was used for math introductories during the Apollo mission. Although we were just talking about computers in the 1980s, I'm going to jump back in the timeline to the mid-1870s when the first telephone was created by Alexander Graham Bell. This didn't affect the planning industry until the 1960s when long-distance phone calls were able to be made, but it's still a very valuable transgression in the timeline. Shortly after long-distance phone calls were able to be made in the 1960s, early models of the mechanical calculators were invented. This helped with budgeting and finances. This also came around in 1965. And of course, with all the budgeting and finances comes paperwork. That brings us to number 4, fax machines. They became popular in the 1970s and they were used to send documentation back and forth between parties. Also around the time of the invention of the fax machine was when slide projectors, overhead projectors, and cassette-based music tapes became important tools for hosting events, as well as adding a little extra flair. To also help with the flair aspect of planning events, a computer program in the 1980s called CAD, Computer Aided Design, came out and was used to replace hand-drawn plans with precise digital drawings so the measurements would be more accurate. This brings us to number 7. In 1981, Apple introduced Apple II, which was a software for their computers which allowed event planners to access spreadsheets, budgets, and guest lists. This was huge considering attendees, vendors, and sponsors were easier to track down, making event planning faster, more professional, and more accurate. Going along with being more efficient and professional, in 1981, email replaces most memos and fax machines, which allows for instant communication with venues, vendors, and clients. This brings us to 1995 when Public Web begins hosting more websites for event planning with valuable information such as host schedules, venue directions, and event descriptions. This also gives room for online RSVPs to take place for events. With the introduction of RSVPs to make your spot easier to secure, in 1998, credit card payments were also able to be taken over the internet, securing spots for venues and prepaying for things in advance. Normally, when prepaying for things over the internet, you would have to do it in the comfort of your own home. But in 2007, Apple released the first iPhone, which came equipped with touchscreen, on-the-go internet access, and the App Store. You no longer had to use computers for internet access in your own home. You could do it on the go. Number 12. In 2008, barcodes and QR codes for tickets were released. You no longer had to manually enter things into a system. Fraud is reduced, and the automatic check-in is put into place for ticket usage for concerts, conventions, and festivals. Number 13. In 2010, the App Store started booming with event apps such as Guidebook and EventMobi. These gained popularity for providing tools such as venue maps, interactive agendas, networking features, and push notifications. These became very popular very quickly amongst clients. Number 14. Although in 2008, barcodes and QR codes became very popular for ticketing for concerts and conventions, in 2012 to 2015, RFID and NFC wristbands were used for cashless payments and access control for festivals and conferences. This is also the time where social media was maturing for Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook Live. Shortly after the maturation of different social media platforms, in 2020, COVID boomed, allowing for virtual meetings to become popular and allowed for planning in the comfort of your own home. Number 16. From 2023 to 2025, AI and 3D simulation become more popular, which planners can use to simulate potential venue layouts, crowd management, audiovisual plans, and emergency evacuation situations. I had such a fun time learning how to use different platforms such as Powtoon to work on presentations like this, and hopefully I'll have more in the future. Thank you so much for watching.